So hello everyone, welcome to Dry Ride. This is Pack 365. Myself Sujit. So in this session, we are going to learn the remaining argument that are available in our Python. So guys, as of you see, we are already completing what is keyword argument and what is positional argument. Guys, if we are comparing both keyword and positional, for this means if we are creating this one here we can use by the help of this parameter we can use positional as well as your keyword also, because here we are not giving any extra thing. Means for this first line it will be same for both the things, but my requirement will be whenever I want to create for positional, it's only used for this positional. If I'm giving some keyword at that time, it need to give me a error. Okay, so guys, if you are installing your Python 3.8 version, then at that version Python will be introduced two more new argument. Okay, means still in our Python 5 argument will be there, but in our Python 3.8 version there will be two more added. So that will be called as, the first one will be define positional only argument. Positional only argument. Okay, and the second one will be define keyword only argument. Means whenever I am going to tell that if I want to create for positional, it will only work for this positional. If I'm creating for keyword, it needs to create for keyword only. So how to create that? First we are going to implement in our VS Code, then only we are going to come to my theory part. Okay, so here I am taking, so as of now it will be treated for my keyword argument. So first I need to give for my positional. So how to make this positional? Means every time I must need to give for this positional only. Guys, here if I'm trying to run this one, here I am directly passing. Okay, here I'm passing Sujit. Then because positional, based on this positional only, it will be needs to give me the output. So as of now, if I try to run this, the function, it will be work for both this. Means for this positional as well as keyword. Okay. Now after the end of my parameter, if I'm adding a forward slash, guys just see, if I'm going to run this one, so it will give me an error that sample function got some positional only argument passed as keyword argument, but here we are using only for positional. But this controller says that at your 40 line you are creating, means at the 40 line you are creating for your keyword, but you are defining for this positional only. So to represent the positional only at the end of your parameter, you need to give a forward slash. So now we are going to write the theory part. So if we want to define positional only argument, okay, positional only arguments, we have to use slash at the end of the parameter. Okay, if you are using at the end of the parameter, it will be treated as my positional only argument. Okay, now we are going to create for this keyword argument. Okay, so here I just want to comment this one. Okay, now if I try to run this one, okay, I just remove this forward slash. Okay, now guys, if I try to run this one, it will be also give me the same output, because whenever you are not specifying the forward slash, it will be useful for both the keyword argument as well as this positional argument. So now I need to make this function only for keyword argument. Okay, now whenever I am starting at my parameter, if I'm passing a asterisk symbol, okay, asterisk. Now if I try to run this one, so it will give me error. First it will be printing because here taking as my keyword, but here it will be tell me that type error means sample function got 0 positional argument but 3 were given, because if you are creating for only keyword then it will be not taking for your positional. Okay, so to how to define this positional by the help of this asterisk. Okay, now we are going to give the theory part for this one. Okay, so here we need to write for defining keyword only argument, we need to use asterisk. Okay, but in front or starting, or we can say that starting of the parameter. Okay, so this is all about our positional parameter only and keyword parameter only. Guys, just see if I try to remove this one. Okay, now I just want to, because every time if I not specify the positional only and keyword only, we can use in a both way. Now I want to call at a once, means as of now you just see if I try to use this keyword, it's working. For this positional also working. Now guys, if I try to remove this one, means here I am removing this edge and here I need to directly use this positional. So as of now, if I try to run this one, so it will give me a error. Why? Because here it will be telling that positional argument follow keyword argument. Means if you are passing fast keyword, then it will be not possible. First, if you are passing your positional, after that, if you are passing your keyword, it will be tell you the correct answer. Okay. Now, if I'm taking age, okay, here if I'm removing this gender, okay, so here our order also wrong, so that's why here I'm using fast this Sujit. After that, here I need to print this age. After here, if I'm using this gender, okay, so gender I need to pass male. Here if I try to run this one, so it will give me the correct output, because in the function called we are using both the functional argument as well as this positional argument. Okay, because your positional argument follow your keyword but your keyword will not follow it. Okay, so in the note point you need to write that particular thing. Okay, so note point, so here you need to write, if you want to declare positional argument and keyword argument at a once, so if we want to use both positional and keyword argument at a time. Okay, so if you want to use both this at a time, so here it will be said that positional argument should be give first. So positional argument should so positional argument should give first, then it follow the keyword. Okay, in the interview there might be chance if you want to use both the positional and keyword or not. So at that time if you are explaining this point, okay, it will be useful for you. Then we are going to discuss about our default argument. What is this default argument? Guys, default argument says that in this type argument will have its own default value during the function definition, because as of now if I'm not giving any value at that time, it will be give me the error that we are expecting 3 value, but you are passing only 2 value. So sample function missing one required positional argument, that will be called gender. Now to overcome with that, we are using this default value. Okay, so here I need to pass this one, same thing. So here I'm passing. So guys, if I want to don't need to pass to how to create this default argument means at that time you need to give some default value here. If I, at that time if I'm not passing, then the default value needs to be activated. Okay, so every time I just need to use some default value. If you are passing at the function called, if you are passing also, it will be take your function call value only. Now guys, if you see here, if I'm using sample and here I'm passing Sujit, okay, because I am using this positional, so Sujit, then I need to pass the age. Okay, as of now, if I try to run this one, so it will be give me the output as Sujit 25 male. Okay, now here if I'm not giving any value, I just want to run this one. So it will be taking the default value that are assigning at your function declaration. Okay, this is all about our default argument. If you are changing also, it will be give you the correct output. So in this argument, okay, in this argument will have its own default value. Means if you are not passing also, it will not creating error. Okay, during the function declaration, during this function creation, or we can say that function declaration. Okay, now here also tell that the number of parameter and the number of argument need not to be same. As of now, if you see in this example also, here it will be taking 3 parameter, but here we are not passing a single argument. So the next point says that the number of parameter, the number of parameters and number of the number of argument need not to be same. Okay, in function, okay, in function, if there is no argument given, it takes the default value. Okay, so this all about the theory and the example regarding our default argument. Okay, now we're going to take an example to implement this default argument. Okay, now I want to write a program to print factorial of a number. Okay, factorial of a number. So we know how to find this factor. Okay, means up to that number we need to generate and we need to start implementing. So here we are using this default argument. Okay, by the help of our default argument concept. So every time I need to take the user input. So here I am taking int. After I am taking int, here I need to use this input function because every time I need to take the user input. So enter the number. After I am taking, I need to create a function. So here I need to create for factor. Okay, after that, here it will be taking positional argument as well as the default argument because here taking the norm from this user input, and if I'm not passing any value for fact, it will be taking the default value or default argument. So now to create our factorial, how means you are getting the number from user, till that we need to generate the number. So here we need to generate that particular number only. So for element means ELE in range of, I need to start from num 1. Okay, 1 num plus 1 till the number I want. That's why I need to start from 1. If you are starting for 0, every time if you want to multiply with 0, every time it will give you the 0 as output. But I want to factorial, so here I need to use from 1 up to the number. So here I'm using num plus 1. So every time I just need to store in my factorial. Okay, so here fact equal to fact into element. So every time I just tell that you don't need to print inside the function. So every time you need to send the value outside this function. So here after I am getting the value, after every iteration will be completing, at that time I need to return that factorial value. So here if I'm calling the function only and here I'm passing the num, because here I'm passing the argument. As of now, if I'm just calling this function, so it will be taking a mandatory argument as 5, but it will be not printing, because if you want to print the function what it's written, you need to print the function call, not the function name. Okay, if I'm trying to print this one, if I'm taking the user input, now it will be give me the correct output, because return keyword taking the value outside of this function. So here after generating all the number what the user will be taking, as of now I'm passing 5. So first it will be taking the 5 and it will be start implementing from 1. So 1 equal to 1 into 1, 1. Then it will be increment. So 2, then 1 into 2, just like that. Num plus 1 means 5 plus 1, 6. Means up to 5, this for loop will be generating, and every time what value it will be generating, every time it will be multiply with its, and it will be stored in my fact. At a time, at last, I need to return from this function, and to see the output, I just need to print the function call. Okay, so that's all for this session. Thanks for watching. Try